Let's see. Can you do some talking? See if I get some levels from you.
Hi, how are you doing?
Ooh. Can you say times with dad?
Times dad. So let's get this podcast started.
Today's topic is how parenting changes you.
Yeah.
How you're not the same person you was now than what you were before you had a kid.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Oh, definitely.
You do?
Yeah.
Can you feel it?
I feel it. When I sit back and think about it, I feel it. But day to day, just going about life, no.
Has anyone ever told you you're different?
No.
Oh, I definitely feel where I'm different. And before I even get to that, I just want to read this, something I never do on this episode or on this show with episodes. Something I never do with Times with Dad is I get off some stats. So I did research to see about that. Like, hey, do you feel different? And is it just a me thing or is there any data behind it? And so what says here, what I found online, is a significant percentage of people report that parenthood has profoundly changed them. I like how they put profoundly in there. Studies and surveys often indicate that 60 to 80% of parents say becoming a parent has significantly altered their perspectives, priorities, or personal identities.
Yeah.
Before we even get into some of those common things they mention, 60 to 80%? Like, why is it a range like that?
I don't even know. Where'd you get the statistic?
The Googles. So anyway, common changes include increased patience and empathy.
I would agree with that when it comes to you.
Oh, let's get to that. Because I feel like my patience is way higher, but maybe we just see how much it's been tested. I will say on the inside, I feel a little more patient, but all right. The other thing was a stronger sense of responsibility.
Oh, you definitely, yes.
What about you?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course. I feel like I have that was the first thing I felt when I became a parent. Like I didn't feel like a mom. Like I didn't like that sense of a momish. I don't know. Like I didn't feel like a mom when I first had Avery. It took me a minute to kind of be like, oh snap, I'm a mom. But I definitely felt that like I'm responsible for this human and I got to make sure I keep it alive.
Mm-hmm. Yep. With Avery, I definitely understood responsibility and forever, because it was like, I have this dude forever.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for him forever.
I didn't get the sense of forever right away, but I'm starting to get it now. Like, I sometimes would get so irked and annoyed when my mom is just constantly checking in on me and making sure I'm okay. Or when I'm sick, she's having a panic attack and worrying about me and all this stuff. And I'm just calm down, woman, relax. But I'm now starting to really get that sense of it's forever. We're always constantly going to be worried for our kids in every stage of their life, past 18 and into adulthood, into them being parents themselves and hopefully, don't know how far along if we would be able to be great grandparents. But, yeah, I'm starting to really realize forever.
Right? Hold on. There's more that's in this thing. Shifts in priorities often put in family and children above career and personal interests. And that's a fact.
That is definitely a fact.
I had some career goals that I was it's going to take away from family.
Yep.
And I was like, no, I don't need that. I don't want that. And if I'll be honest, I don't need that. I don't want that now. If the kids were older, it's one thing, right? The kids are going to be, I want it to be around me anyway. And so I can be a little bit more selfish. But right now, I'm no. So I've changed that. And then the personal interests, Oh my God. Do you know how many times they want to do something? I'm like, I don't care nothing about it. And because they're interested, I'm interested for them, right? Like, and it can be like, they want to go out. I'm like, I don't want to go out. I want to stay inside. Now, when I was younger, I always wanted to go out. And right now, I just want to be chilling inside. My priorities is try to buy things to put in the house so I can stay in the house and chill in the house. But they want to go out, and I get it, right? But like Avery talks about his shows, or Blair talks about like her things, and I have to be just as like intrigued as they are, and like, oh wow, that's so cool, right? And so I'm more interested that they're happy and they're getting what they want, and then prioritizing my stuff like very last. For sure, I agree with all three of these. For me, obviously the patience you don't, but I agree with all three so far. I agree
with the patience.
And we're going to dive into all of these, right? But then the last one is changes in social behaviors and spending habits. Spending habits, I've been always cheap. My mom raised me like this. I'm ingrained in this thing, right? It's to the point I think it's subconsciously passed down into Avery's DNA, because I've never once that I can recall have brought up certain points. For example, he goes to the store and he's like, oh, can I get like a toy or a candy bar? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, okay. And he like, oh, Dad, that's like $9.99. I'm like, did I give you a number limit? And so I have to be like, it's fine, you can get it. He's like, yeah, because it's expensive. It's like $9.99 for this toy. Maybe I should get this one. It's $8.99. That was great, right? But it's like, I've never ever brought this into your grandma's DNA is strong in you right now. You know how your mom likes to say like, oh, Avery has your walk, or so and so. Yes. Your mom picks up traits that like no one else knows. Like, yeah. Your mom can be like, oh yeah, Avery's left toe touches first, just like you do. Right? And you're like, what? And for sure, I'm like, yeah, he's cheap, just like my mom. All right.
That's definitely been embedded.
Now peep it.
It has not been embedded in Blair, because she's like, shopping? Oh yeah, I want to go shopping.
Oh, Blair? I'm gonna hide my wallet. I'm like, Blair, you want to go do something? She's like, no. I'm like, you want to go shop? She's like, oh yeah. She'll drop everything she's doing. Like, I don't care about any of this. Oh yeah, I want to go shopping. Let's go shopping. She don't even care what we're shopping for. We're shopping for groceries. I don't care. Let's go shopping. We're spending money. We're shopping. Let's go. You know, and then sometimes
she was so devastated when I went to go. I was like, we're going to the store to pick up groceries. And I was like, and she's like, oh, going shopping? I was like, no, not really. Mommy's just picking it up. And we get to the store, and I parked the car, and she's like, Mommy, can I take my seatbelt off now? We're going to go shopping? And I'm like, no, they're going to bring it to us. But Mommy, I want to go shopping.
Like, yeah, shopping, Daddy. Yeah. Shopping. And then on top of it, she has like a little fake purse. Sometimes she will carry around. She's like, go shopping, Daddy. Yeah, you have money. And that's the other thing. I'm like, why do I have to have money? So I'll be like, Blair, do you have money? No. You have money. Let's try to dive into some of these, right? And I'm not diving into them in a particular order. One of them is the tug of war parents face between personal space and then trying to build connection with the kids, right? And for me, I love the time with the kids, but I'm always looking to see if I can like get my own little personal space sometimes. You do it, and sometimes it drives me crazy. Because I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm laying in the bed. I'm like, why are you laying in the bed? Why are you like, what are you doing in the bed? Nothing, just on my phone, browsing. And I'm like, do you not hear the Romans arguing down here? Like, it's like
I can zone it out.
Like
you have to.
There's a great war happening, and you're just swiping endlessly.
You just have to.
Yeah.
But you know, if you need me, you can tap me in.
Yeah, but like it irks me. But I won't lie. Now I'm like, I'm a like steal some time.
Yeah, and you have been.
Oh yeah. I know. But I never felt the need to like build personal time.
Yeah.
Until like lately, like the last couple of years, I'm like, I need my time.
I need my sanity. You know, I need my sanity.
Yeah. And I mean, you doing it is great, but I'm saying I'm now getting to the point of like, I see the desire in the need for this. Where like Avery's like, I'm like, no. I like hanging with you, but no, I need to be with me right now. I need a little, and then also like sometimes I'm like, I need it for like professional reasons.
Yeah.
Like I'm in work and he's like barges in. He's like, I just got one thing and I'm in a call presenting in a meeting and I'm like, get out of the office. I'm working. He's like, I just got one question. I'm like, get out of the office. And then I come back to the computer like, sorry. And I can hear people chuckling. And I'm like, I know they all heard him. Mind you, my door's locking and now he knows how to unlock it.
Oh yeah. He knows how to unlock it. He's figured it out.
Yeah. So he goes and he like turns it on the other side and I see and I'm like, oh God. I'm like, as he's opening, I'm pushing him back out. I'm like, no. I need my time right now. I need this for work. I mean, we need this to pay the bills. Yeah. But like the definite, like I want to be with them and then I don't want to be with them. And as soon as I'm not with them.
It's not that you don't want to be with them. It's just you need your sanity.
No, I don't want to be with them. I just want my time. I don't want to be with you, right? And I'm learning that's not a bad thing. Like I need that moment. It doesn't have to be long periods of time. It could be like my 10 to 12 at night, whatever. But the funny thing is like, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to go on the trip.
Oh,
I'm going to go on a solo trip. And as soon as I get there, like it's next morning, I wake up and I'm like, oh, first off, I wake up, my back's not feeling it because I don't have to like the kids like literally, Avery slept on my back yesterday. Like he was on the side of me. I saw him like swirling around. He couldn't get comfortable. So he thought that'd be a great idea if I just lay on his back. And then he's swirling on my back and I'm trying to sleep through it. Right. But the whole point is like, I'm like, I can't wait to just have my time, not feel guilty about it. And as soon as I wake up, I'm like, oh, I miss them. I want to check in on them.
Or you're thinking, oh, this would have been so nice to do with them. Or, oh my God, they would have loved this and that. And yeah.
They could make it fun, right? Like when we went to the zoo in Cali and I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go to the zoo. And that's something we want to do with them. Right. Yeah. But like, it's something a fun moment that you're not going to get naturally. And we're like, Avery, what do you want to see? And he's like, I want to see this. And Blaine's like, I want to see a dinosaur. I want to see a T-Rex. I'm like, if they got this in his zoo, I'm not coming back. So it's like, there's things that I want to do personal connections with them, especially things I didn't do like that growing up. Like when we went trick-or-treating in Cali, I thought that was great. Yeah. I'm like, I've never done a traditional thing in a non-traditional way. And I'm like, oh, now that wants to be my new tradition. Yeah. I want it for them to be like, do you know how cool you are to say you went trick-or-treating across the country and you're never going to remember it? But it's super cool to be like, oh, I see how like other people do certain traditions in other locations that you would never think to do. I heard Will Smith would, I think he did this with Willow and the reason I'm not sure about this, but it came out of his mouth. I saw an interview him saying this, but I'm not sure as far as like he could be making it up. Right. But anyway, he said in an interview one time that what they would do for Christmas is he would always let Willow pick where they would go. And what they would do is they'll check the weather forecast and see what city would get the biggest amount of snow. And then that's where they would go. And they would be locked in a cabin as a family, snowed in, enjoying Christmas because, they live in Cali. Yeah. It's don't really snow like in LA. Yeah. And so I was like, that's cool. Like that's a little tradition that he was able to do that. And so like, again, now I'm like, I would like to do that. It doesn't have to be the same holiday. But once a year, I would like to do something like that. Yeah.
I know. The family that I used to babysit for, whenever a snowstorm would come, they would go to New York. They would drive to New York and, so that they can go skiing. And I love that. Like everybody's like getting ready to bundle inside and stay in for the day. And they're like, yep, we're going to go to New York and we're going to go skiing. Yeah, and like the snow, cool. I remember the youngest was, I think he was like 3 at the time. The snow was taller than him. So we had to put him on a sled so that we can bring him inside of the house, because if he stepped on the snow, he was going to just go right through it.
Let me ask you this. Speaking on like the personal stuff, you said it's for your sanity. Mm-hmm. Do you ever notice that, how it impacts you and or the kids when you get your personal time?
I'm more involved and I'm more present and I'm more patient.
So you become a better person.
Yeah.
Which becomes a better parent.
Yeah.
I think I feel rejuvenated.
Yeah.
For sure. I definitely feel rejuvenated. I will say, I thought I've been giving Avery a lot of time.
What do you mean?
I thought I've been giving him a lot of like us time, right? Like,
but he doesn't feel like
he doesn't feel like it. And then he told me that recently.
Yeah.
And he said,
doesn't that like put a dagger in your heart?
Yeah, it did. It put a little, I was like, what are you talking about? I need you to explain this and define it and come down to a logical explanation of why you feel the way you feel. Because I'm like, what? I'm with you all the time, right? But I can get it. And when he said it, I was like, he's right in a way because his perspective. So like, he was like, Daddy, I don't feel like I'm hanging out with you enough. I was like, what do you mean you don't hang out with me enough? Like we hang out all the time. And he was like, well, yeah, but I have to wait because you're busy or because you're working. And when I'm working,
he's with you a lot.
He's with me, right? And
he doesn't feel like he's,
but he doesn't feel like we're together.
Yeah.
And I get it when he's like, you're working, because there's times I'm like, no, I'm working. And then I also gonna get it because I work from home. I like break little moments to be with him a lot, especially because I used to work and raise him.
Yeah.
You know, while you was working in the office. So I did that for like 3 years with him.
Yeah.
So his first 3 years, I'm with him like 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And so like now, like he doesn't feel it. And so when he said it, I was like, he's right. Cause sometimes it's in the weekend. I'm like, I got things I got to do around the house. Like, I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do that. And I'm like, I'm busy or I'm working. Can you give me some moments? And he does. And he waits patiently. And he always wakes up at 5 a.m. every day. So he's waiting for all of us to come down the stairs and all that thing. But first it got me annoyed. What are you talking about? With you all the time. You're with me all the time. You're sleeping on my back. What are you talking about? Right. But then I thought about your perspective and I was like, nope. Yeah, there's times, like you said. So I try to do little things. I'm like, okay, I'm going to be working in my office, but you can be in here with me. But I'm going to put my headphones on. If you have a question, you can ask me. And so I try to do little things to make him feel like he's involved. So thus, if he's involved, thus he feels we're hanging out.
Yeah.
And then I also say to him, like, well, what do you want to do? Which I always do. But now we're a little bit more cognizant of like, what do you want to do that's going to make you feel like we're hanging out?
Yeah.
I want to play wrestling. Or I'm like, I want to go exercise. And Blair now and Avery like, I want to go exercise with you. So I'm like, fine. Totally just screws up my whole workout, right? But I'm like, fine. I let them get involved. So I do those little things. But like, yeah, when he said it to me, I was like, oh my God. Especially I know he knows what he's saying. He's 6 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he understands what he's telling me. I don't agree with it, but I felt it.
Yeah.
Has he said anything like that to you?
He hasn't.
It's crazy. What about Blair?
Blair hasn't said anything to me. I have noticed with her, she's like, I'm like, if we're going to go do something, I'm like, oh, like, or like yesterday when I was like, all right, we're going to go home now. She's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, really. She's like, really? I'm like, yeah, really. She's like, was he Daddy and Avery? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, really? I'm like, okay, how many times you gonna say really? Because it's like, I don't know how many more times I have to tell you, yes, we are going to go home and you're gonna see your brother and your dad. That's the most that I've noticed with her. And then the shopping, her wanting to go shopping.
You feel like she's more connected to you? I feel like she's more connected to you than she is with me.
Yeah.
So with Avery, I was with them. It's like I said, his first 3 years, he's with me all the time.
Yeah.
But Blair, I know she didn't like me. I know she didn't like me. I don't know why.
She tolerated you.
Yeah, I don't know why she didn't like me. Like you remember, why don't you feed her? It's not me. She doesn't want me to feed her. She intentionally refuses to be fed by me.
Yeah.
If you left and she looked at me, she was like, oh my God, I got to deal with you. Right? Like she just never liked me. Right. I don't, for like 10 months of her life, didn't like me. She was always like fully connected to you.
Yeah.
I think she's still a little more fully connected to you.
Yeah.
Now, you agree?
Oh yeah. Because if you ask her who she wants to put to bed, it's going to be me.
And if you ask Avery, he's going to say 9 times out of 10, it's me.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So with that, in the study as well, it says bonds are formed in early childhood that influence a person's relationship, emotional resilience, and mental health well into their adulthood. And then it also was saying stuff about like that first like few years kind of shapes their view of you and their bond with you.
Yeah.
So it does make sense.
Yeah.
Right. But like now I'm like constantly asking you and constantly asking him, like, go hang out with your mom.
Yeah.
And then I'm like trying to like a little time with Blair, like, hey, do you want to hang out with me? Playtime all day. Anything kind of real serious? She's like, where's my mom? Right? Avery, you think is
Avery has, I think Avery, my maternity leave was not long. And you were with him 24/7. So I think he definitely bonded with you more. Whereas with Blair, I had a little bit of a longer maternity leave. And then on top of it, I also breastfed her.
Yeah.
Like I strictly breastfed her as
almost
with Avery.
Whole first year, basically.
I didn't really breastfeed. I breastfed, but I also gave him formula. So yeah, I think I have a stronger bond with her than she has with you. But they know who to go to for certain things. They know to go to you for the fun.
Mm-hmm.
They know to go to you for fun, to goof around, to be silly, all of that. They know that's to be you. And then when they got a boo-boo, it's mommy.
Or to help them like take the Band-Aid out of the package. Right?
Yeah.
It's cool because I feel it has like been proven this early bonding matters. Here's where it says key reasons why early bonding matters. It helps with emotional security, like you just said, right? Some examples. Their brain development. This one's interesting because for a long time, dad's like, I'm going to be in denial. Something wrong with my kid a lot of times. Or I'm just going to be like, it's not that serious. Like I believe something, like he's hurt or he has something, but it's not as big, right? And you're going to notice like the jaundice. I'm like, he doesn't have jaundice until I looked at him like, why are your eyes mad yellow?
Or when I told you that he had speech issues, like, no, I understand him.
Yeah, I understand him all day. Until I one day said to myself, like, let me ask him something that's not a close-ended question.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you want to do today? Good. I was like, like a. I'm like, oh, bro, this isn't going well. Oh, mom is right. I need you to articulate to other people better than me, because every time I asked him, was like, you want this? Yeah. Do you want that? So he knew what I was talking about, but he couldn't say it back.
Yeah.
And I was like, mom's right. He has speech issue. Building trust. Like you said, they know who to go to. Shaping their self-esteem. That one's huge. Social development. And then parental benefits. I didn't really look into what this parental benefits thing they're talking about. But the social development is interesting because I feel like me and you are like, all right, I need them to deal with other people.
Yeah.
Like Blair. Like Blair saw another human being and she went face first to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, nope, don't. She did that even with me. Like, I was a 2.5 out of her 3 people she accepted me to. Like, I sometimes fit in. She's like, right? So we was like, no, you need to go to other people.
Yeah.
Especially other kids.
Yeah.
You need to socialize. So I find that one interesting that they say like early bonding matters in that regard. It's pretty cool.
So my question is, so is it saying that the social bond is stronger or is stronger when they have the bond? Because I'm like, me and Blair definitely had the bond, but she had a bond.
Well, this was saying why early bonding just matters. Like it can help in these other areas. And like social development is like one of those areas. I felt like she was going
through some anxiety, poor thing, when we finally put her in daycare.
Yeah. It gives you tips on how we can foster these words they use. I don't talk like this. How you can foster early bonding. Physical touch, for sure.
I always do that.
And that's my love language. responsive communication. Avery, yes, no. I thought he was talking. I guess he wasn't. Quality time. Avery's asking for that.
Yep.
Play and exploration, and then consistency. Those two, I think, is pretty valuable, especially now with the screen issues we're having with Avery.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, go use your brain. Go magic something. And he's like, I can't. I'm bored. I have nothing to do. And as soon as he doesn't have that screen for like 16 minutes, I turn around, he's playing with Legos, he's doing all these things with them.
Yeah.
Right? And then I can also see his energy is so different. When he's on the screens, he's so much more fussy and aggressive and short with things. And it's like, dude, if this was a wrestling match right now, like I'm hitting you with my finisher immediately. Like, he's super tough. This article is pretty cool. Pretty cool. Any of these feel like resonate with you, or anything you would add?
Mm-mm. How
do you feel about the consistency?
I feel like that's very valid. I feel like I need to be more consistent.
In what way? And just in what way?
Being present with them.
Consistency in your presence. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's?
I feel like sometimes I feel like recently, I should say. I feel like when I was in Georgia, I was way more present with Avery than I have been since we moved here. And I was more intentional about my time with him as well. Compared to since we've moved back to New England. And my mental health hasn't been like the best since having Blair. That I think that's caused me to not be consistent. Like I'm wavering because my mental health is wavering. Like for the last 3 years, I've been struggling, not feeling like myself and stuff like that. So I think the consistency in that.
I think it's good to be consistent because they know what to expect from you. We know what to expect from them.
Yeah.
Again, Avery's always, up until this point, I always figure out a way to just spend time with him or make time for him. And now I'm like, dude, like I said, like I need some me time, or I can't give you the all 100% time right now. Like when we were building the house or whatever, now we're in the house and I'm working on the house and I'm like, dude, whatever the case. And he doesn't get it. Like he doesn't get it. Like I think it was like a month or two ago when I was doing laundry and I was like, honestly, I'm overwhelmed right now. I need you to just go away. Let me and mom just have me and mommy talking time while we do some laundry and you guys go play. And he couldn't get it. He's just like, I'm like, I know you. I know I've never told you this, but you need to learn this part of life as well, where you need to give people space. And he's not good with space.
He's not
good at respecting boundaries. He's not good at understanding other people's space.
What are we doing wrong?
I just think it's just because we was always in my opinion, I think it just always gave him availability.
Yeah.
For whatever. And then also communication and like how he feels and all these things. And like you said, he was the firstborn. So he got a sense of just priority, only him.
True.
So all these things, right? But like, again, what do we say now? What do I say now? When he doesn't want to share, I'm like, dude, you act like an only child.
Yeah.
Right? Because in some of his brain, he's like, I was.
Yeah.
So there's that sense of forever we earlier talked about. That's definitely changed some things for me as far as like feeling of responsibility as well as values that I'm going to have. And then like how I want that to carry on throughout his adult life. So like us, we're not really judging people, right? I would classify as not, but I'm gotten picky about who's around the kids.
Oh yeah, me too.
Because and you've always like that. Like I want to make sure they're aligned with us on morals, outlook, perspective, values, all of these things. So he grows up to becoming a good person, a contributing person to society and all these things.
Yeah.
And then also I don't want to raise a person that I don't want to be around that is now my child. And
Yeah.
and I would like, as my kid, I don't have to be around them. You know, like I don't like spoiled kids. I don't like ungrateful. I don't like, you know, like all these things, but he doesn't get it. We have to teach him to be humble and all these things. Like you said, I don't know, like within the last 6 months, he was like, I can't believe I have to teach my kid to be appreciative.
Yeah.
Right. And I was like, well, how does he know? To him, this is just normal life.
Yeah. I think it's like, I'm like, I don't know how my mom taught me it, if my mom taught me it, or it was just because I'm trying to reflect on like, what is it that my mom did that made me appreciative and made me grateful for the things that I had. And like, I had those moments in my life where, you know, I would ask for something and my mom would be like, you know, I'm sorry, mommy just doesn't have the money for it. And like, I wouldn't wail out and be like so upset about it. You know, I'll be like, okay, like I understood, like for some, like I just understood that like mommy can't do it, you know, and I never gave my mom a hard time about that. And when I did get something, I did appreciate, I appreciated it, you know, because I knew that I didn't have to. So like, I try to reflect on like, what is it that my mom did that made me appreciative and grateful for when I did get things. And I don't know if it's because if I've made him not be appreciative because we've been so quick to give him all that he wants. And I feel like since being a mom, it's like, I didn't like that. Like as much as I understood that my mom couldn't do it, I still felt a pain, you know, in my chest. And I don't want him to feel that pain. Yeah. And so since I'm giving him what he wants and trying to provide him a life that I didn't have, but then now I'm making a spoiled brat.
Yeah, no. So that's right. Like you just said that recall. I have that recall. So I was super understanding. I would think my mom at least relayed that to me. That was understanding of like circumstances. Mm-hmm. Even when she's like, we don't have it and we had it, but it was just because we're looking for the bigger picture of something. Like, you know, we're building towards something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, whatever. I didn't get that part of it. I do now. But like, so when I was like, we don't have the money, I understood that. So I use that as an expression now. Like, oh no, we don't have the money. So he's like, oh, mommy got the money, or we can just go buy it. Like he said the other day, he's like, Daddy, you should buy me a game. I think we got the money. Right. And I was like, so for a long time I was telling him like, I don't have the money until I talked to Greg, and Greg gave me great advice. He was like, no, we don't say that. We say, what have you done to earn this that make you feel you deserve it? Now I'm like, that's my expression. So he can feel appreciative. Cause that's the thing. I want him to work for something and I want him to understand what it feels like when he's achieved it and like he's worked towards it. Same thing with the outlook. I want people to be able to give him that same outlook. Like you can achieve something. I don't want Debbie Downers. Yeah. I don't want people to give false hope of like things are easily achievable as well. Yeah. Like, you know, like, no, it's going to take work. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, there's going to be some effort here. There's going to be some growing pains here. There's going to be some sacrifices you're going to have to make. And these are going to be all your things you got to go through. Because we've gone through our own. Now you got to go through them.
Yeah. I think one thing I've realized that is the struggles and challenges that we had as a kid, or the scars that we got as a kid, we will try our hardest not to have our kids have that scar, but they're still going to have scars. Even
if you don't know they're a scar. Like for me,
it's unintentional. Like I know now as an adult, I know that some of the things that my parents might have said or did could have been hurtful to me. I understand that it wasn't intentional. Like they weren't intentionally saying those things. They were doing it out of the goodness of their heart, and they were being the best parent that they could be. And I now as a parent, like I understand that it's still hurt, you know, like it's still hurt. Like they left that, you know, it left a scar. So I feel like I sometimes wonder, like, what is it that I'm doing unintentionally that's going to scar him or her?
I think there's all the things. Now, you keep saying I'm not patient. You said it like 4 times this episode. So I feel like I'm more patient. So
I don't feel like you were.
So when he was first born, tiny things I felt like I was upset about. Like, oh my gosh. Now I'm like it went from 0 seconds to 3 seconds, but it's 3 more than it was. It's all about progress. The 1% better a day thing, okay? So
can you really say that
there's things I'm more patient. Not a lot of stuff. There's certain things I'm more patient. And if I know I'm not patient, I've at least acknowledged that I know I'm not patient there. And so, like you said before, I'm going to tag you in. So I'm like, Thunder, I don't got the time because I'm a flip out. I'm going to get so upset over this. And then there's times where I know you're not patient in certain things. Mm-hmm. So I learned that, like, again, I'm like, normally I'm not caring about that type of stuff for other people. Just like, I'm so worried about me, and not like in a conceited way, but like me as like, I'm just in my own space. Like I'm not looking to bump into anyone's path.
Yeah.
Like, like I'm happy for everyone's path and I'm not looking to be involved. I don't need to be involved in. But when it comes to certain things, like, oh, I see Thunder's patience is going down. Oh, I see Blair's patience is too high, too low for Avery, or Avery's is too low for her. So I jump in. In moments where I normally don't have the patience, when I see you or someone else has 0 patience, I'm a recharge on my patience for that, because I feel like all of us can't be attacking the one kid.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel my patience has gotten better. And it's not better. It's gotten at least
when it's needed, it's there. I think there's just moments. I think you need to work more on getting your me time.
Yeah.
Because you have moments where it's something has happened like once or twice and you are already at level 10.
I don't have it. No. Before you have the people looking at me crazy. I don't have a good build up in the meter. It's just like, it's like what we do at work, right? There's something called like Boolean values. It's just 2 states. I have an on and off. There's no in between. There's no warm up. So I'd be chilling.
So it's hard for me to be able to tag in before you get to that point, because it's a little bit unpredictable.
Well, when I get to that point, I'm learning I'm at the point the same time you are. Because I'm chilling. I'm just like, and next thing you know, I'm like, and you look at me like, damn, dude. And I'm like, yeah, that was sudden, huh? I didn't even know I was going to get there.
Yeah. Like, so it's unpredictable. So that's why I say that your patience is not the best, because it's unpredictable. Like, if you were able to provide that warm up or provide some type of signal before you got to where you need to tap out, would be great. And you've done that. You have done that maybe a handful of times. You have done that where you're like, Thunder, I need you to get in here. But then there's times.
Oh, there's times I cut you. You're like, I'm like, whoa, I got it.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
And that's when and again, those are moments where I'm just as mad as you, but I see you're not, and I'm like, that's 2. It's 2 against 1. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Let me jump in. You know what's not on that list is the value of bonding is super huge for yourself and for the kids.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always there for people, but I'm way more there for my kids.
But I think what's missing from from all of that is, bonding is great, but it doesn't talk about how hard it is to sometimes bond. At least I can't speak on a father perspective, but like in a mother's perspective, when it comes to postpartum, like we are just we are going through so much change that sometimes that bond is hard to have. And I feel like with Avery, I didn't have that issue. I didn't have an issue with bonding. It was, life was great, was grand. Things were consistent. I worked Friday through Monday, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday were my days with him. And we did our thing. We went out, we played, we went to the library. I did everything with him. And I felt like I had a really good bond with him. And then with Blair, I feel like with the postpartum depression, it was difficult to be able to bond. It wasn't even that. I feel like I was bonding with Blair because I was with her all the time. I had to take care of her. She had a lot of needs. But my bond with Avery, I felt got disconnected because of my postpartum. And I feel like that's when he started. I think that's when he had that bond with you. Like it was a strong bond that he had with you, but I felt like the bond between you and him got even stronger after that point, after having Blair, because my postpartum was not affecting my relationship with Blair, but was affecting my relationship with him. And he was still going through, I think when they talk about the bonding, they talk about it, especially the first 5 years of the kid's life, that was happening around when he was 3, 4, 5, and it sucks. Because for the last 3 years of his life, my mental health hasn't been the best, and he's gotten the shitty end of the stick from it, I feel.
Yeah, I feel like it's crazy. The last 3 years, I'm sitting back and thinking, because he started going through the child alopecia, his hair's falling out, and then I say it's due to stress, and I have to sit and be like, what are you stressed about? Then I'm like, he's relocated states, he did this, we did a new build, he got a new sibling, he's moving.
The last 3 years it's been
a lot of change.
It's been a lot of change for him.
Different states, a lot of new people, all these new schools, new routines.
And then his mom's going through the craziness.
So, yeah, I didn't mention that on here, and I didn't make this research based off of on a father's perspective. So that's a crazy good point you just brought up about you're a different person as soon as you become pregnant, and then as soon as you have the kid, right? Physically, mentally.
Yep.
Right. And then emotionally.
And I think there's research now that says that women can be in postpartum until a good, 7 years.
Yeah. Right.
And think about it,
it's crazy.
That 7 years kind of repeats itself every time you have a kid, So, yeah, I think I'm getting better, but how much have I already kind of scarred him?
I don't think you scarred him, but I think it's just a good point to be you're now entirely different. And then you have these other aspects you have to deal with postpartum that you didn't have to deal with before.
Yeah.
And so you're an entirely new person in all these ways. And then how it's affecting a new human in all their ways. And then lastly, how bonding, how critical we're seeing it is, how it can shape you. It's kind of super interesting that wasn't in this at all. It's a great point. You might need to go on Oprah.
Oh my God.
All right, well, let's wrap this up. This episode of Times with Dad was pretty good. I'm happy that Mom was able to join on Times with Dad.
You are very welcome.
Happy you was able to save me because I was struggling to come up with a topic.
You are very welcome. What would you do without me?
Everything. So thanks everybody for listening to Times with Dad this episode.
Bye.
What are you thinking?
I'm just thinking about like how I really like my bond with him really did get disconnected after having Blair.